Hey everybody, how's everybody doing? I'm not seeing any microphone working. Can you guys hear me okay? Um, I don't understand. Testing. Testing one, two. Oh, you can hear me okay? Oh, sorry about that. I it might be out of sync though. Because normally the microphone's going through the other camera, but now it's coming directly from the microphone, which is not how I usually do it, I don't think. Yeah, it's out of sync, right? Oh, it's frustrating. Give me 1 second. Let me see if I can resolve this. All right. Okay. Uh, and if I turn, well, I don't know. Hopefully now, at least you can hear me. If it's slightly out of sync, I'm sorry about that. Uh, I'm getting mic. What I don't want is like an echo, though, right? Like that would be really annoying, more so than the out of sync, right? Oh, okay. So let me see who's here today. Let me move out my screens everywhere they need to be. Lauren's here. John Utse, System Mature. John Truman, good to see you again. Plato, Jacob, Peter's here. Serge, Dave Tell. Oh, hey, Dave. um, and David Crooks, good to see you. We went out last night for a light show at Meadowlark Gardens. That was great. And let's see. I'll share a few pictures from that. It's on my Instagram and Flickr, so probably you guys have seen it already. Uh, and let's see. Let me scroll up to the top here. Um, oh, Randy's here. Oh, hey, Randy. I got uh, I got your camera. Finally came in Monday, yesterday. They were promising Friday, so I waited all day. No, they promised Saturday, so I waited all day Saturday. Then around 9 o'clock at night, they updated the status to saying pending. And then Sunday, all day it said pending until Sunday night. Then they said it'll be delivered Monday. And then it came like Monday morning. So all in good order. But for those of you who don't know, last week Randy and I uh, swapped my D750 for his Nikon DF. And I've always wanted this camera since it came out. And I just, you know, I had the D750, so I was like, well, um, I don't really need this. And not that that's a valid argument when it comes to Olympus, because I got like 5 or 6 Olympus cameras, but for F mount stuff, I just need one. So I have this one. I have a D80 and a D40, and some film cameras. So I still have a lot of Nikon stuff too, but this is the one I'll probably use the most. The other one is my N75, which I really like. The plastic fantastic. This is a great camera. It takes all of my Nikon autofocus glass, both the D mount and the G mounts. So I can use any lens on this, and of course the vintage AI lenses as well. Um, there we go. Now the Nikon logo is up, facing up. My only problem is that it takes these little CR2 batteries. I have to get some new ones because the ones I have just aren't charging anymore. But I got about 10 or 15 shots left on the roll of film here. And Let's see. Randy says he did some testing with the D750 with the 70 to 300. That's a great lens. I mean, it's not a 300 f4, but yeah, I might get a 300 f4. I'm this close. I have it in my shopping cart over. I'm not going to say where, because if one of you guys buy it, if I decide not to buy it, I'll let you know. But it's at a pretty substantial discount, and so I'm tempted to get it this close. But like $1,600. That's a chunk of change, isn't it? With Christmas and everything else coming up, you gotta budget these things, right? But those kind of deals don't come along very often. So I'm thinking, I 0% finance it or something, and in my mind that makes it like I'm paying for it later, not now. But I get the lens now, right? all the things we rationalize in our brain to make things happen, right? Uh, let's see. Melvin's here. Good to see you. And Marco, good to see you. Oh, no audio? Why's audio going in and out? That's not right. You're gonna rent the Tamron 150 to 600. It's not bad. I got pretty good images with that D750. Man, if I knew you wanted that lens, I could have sold that to you cheap. I sold it. I traded it in for like $350, which is nothing, right? And I had it on Nikon Cafe for 500, but no bites. So, man, missed opportunity there. Oh, Alice is telling me that you make me look good with the amount of cameras you have compared to me. Yeah, trust me. There's probably only a handful of people that can really outmatch me in cameras and lenses. I mean, there's lots of people, but just in our little community here, uh, just a handful of you I know have more stuff than I do. But yeah, I got a lot of stuff, and I got a bunch of stuff I want to put on eBay, but eBay, I'm still having some technical issues. I can't list anything. It's nothing you guys would want, trust me. It's just junk. But I gave my the TT Artisan 7mm lens. David got that one, David Crooks. And I still got the 50mm 7 Artisans lens, the 0.95. I mean, I don't really need it because it's I'm comfortable just using the 50mm 1.8 from Olympus. And I mean, it's a sharp lens though. I mean, it really is a good lens. But in practice, I just would rather use my vintage lens, and get a few extra bucks back for that 50mm. Cornice say you're not getting any gear this month. You bought a Penf last month. Oh, that's awesome. And you're gonna get an audio setup. That's cool. Anyhow, oh wow, you're never selling on eBay again, huh? Well, that's why I sold a lot of stuff about 3 years ago, and I only had one issue, but I didn't lose out. They sent the lens back to me, but I never sell anything more than $200 on eBay. If it's more than that, yeah, because if I get scammed out of a $200 item, I could probably live with that. But if I get scammed out of a, say a Leica M6, like, 5 or 6,000, that would suck. So I don't know. I'm just going to get rid of it because I'm not using this stuff. It's like these microphones and stuff that you guys see me do reviews on. And, I gave one of the microphones away to a friend of mine because he wants to start his YouTube channel. Um, so I said, hey, I have some wireless mics. Why don't you take this one? And, they sell for 100, $150, sometimes more. I might sell my Rode Video Go mic, the little wireless Rode mic. I don't really use that either. And it works great, but I like the Chinese version better. How my voice sounds on that better than I do on the Rode mic. And the Rode mic I can get a lot more money for than the Chinese ones. Even though the Chinese ones sell for like $150, $180, I might get $80 on eBay for it. But the Rode mics, I can probably get 150, even though they sell for like 200 new. Used ones are still selling for 250. Oh yeah, Ellie. No, you know what? I'm having a guy rake the leaves in my yard, so she's gonna be yapping on and off the whole stream while he goes around. Uh, oh, Marco, you got a silver. Let's see. A silver EM. Oh, I remember those. Wow, nice. Nice. I've never seen one in person. I've just seen the one that I think Jimmy Chang has. But I never seen one in person. And you got the newer grip for the D750. Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm not into grips. I know you gave me the grip for this DF, but I'll probably never use it unless for some reason the battery life is so bad I need to have, But I doubt it. I'll just carry the battery rather than carry a big camera. But yeah, I can't wait to take it out. I was thinking about taking it to the thing I did last night with the light show, but it's been a while since I really shot with Nikon, so I didn't want to. I was going to be struggling enough just trying to compose something I've really never shot before, Christmas lights, holiday lights, And yeah, it was a disaster. I mean, I got a few images that I like, but nothing great. Someone is stealing my leaves. Oh yeah, the 8-25. That's on my short list because now that I traded in a bunch of my Nikon lenses, I have enough money to buy that lens. I have a store credit there, but I don't want to pay full price, right? It's $10.99. I want it to go on sale or find a used one. I don't really want to buy that new, brand new without some discount, $100, $200, $150, something like that. Then I can rationalize it, but paying full price for a lens, just not in a position to. And when I say I'm not in a position to do that, I mean, I don't have a need for it because I still have my Panasonic 7-14, which will get me by until that lens, I can get a deal on that lens. But they're hard to find used, and they're from a reputable source, but I would love to get that lens because I was torn. I got this store credit like $1,100 or so that I can get like a used 40-150 f2.8 Pro or the 8-25, or I can pay a little bit and get a 100-400. But of all those lenses, I think I'd use the 8-25 the most because I hardly use the 40-150 range. I'm very content with my 14-150 kit lens. It's a little rough on the edges, but in the center, if you stay under 100 millimeters, it's pretty sharp. And once you get over 100 millimeters, it starts to get a little soft, and the images aren't really that great. But you can get by, for just normal stuff. But an 8-25, I can use that in my professional work, right? My real estate, because I need a wide angle. And the fact that it goes all the way to 25 millimeters, I could use it for street photography and normal photography too, right? So it's a really good range. But unlike the 7 to 14, which is kind of a wide angle across the board, right? It's not that it's not it's not telephoto enough for me to use it as a kind of a do-it-all lens. So I use the 12 to 40 now more than I used to because it's a good range, but it's not quite wide enough for the kind of photography I like to take, the kind of images I like to take. Because generally, I like to shoot wider than I need because I can always crop in a little bit in post. So if I'm not sure about the composition when I take the image, I always shoot a little bit wider. And then with the intent to crop it in a little bit later. But and that's why I prefer getting wider lenses than narrower, because if you're too tight, you can't widen it later in post. But if you have a wide shot, you can always crop in. So I always like to just shoot a little wider than I need, and then I can tilt, because whenever you have to do horizon corrections and things, you lose a little bit of space anyway. um, and that's just the way that I shoot. I'm not saying you guys should shoot that way. It's just the way that I shoot, and I'm comfortable with. Um, and Melvin got the 8 to 25. Man, I know. I'm dying. Oh, hey, you know what, Errol? Let me put up your message here. Errol, okay. This Benro gearhead is awesome. It's about $180 new. If anybody wants this, I highly recommend this. It's really good for doing landscapes because I do architectural. So it's good for architectural and it's good for landscapes. Uh, I mean, you'll need a good steady tripod for it. I think it's a 3/8 screw on the bottom, but regardless, uh, that is a great ball head or what gear head. And a gearhead tripod, it's in my car because I use it for work, but it has two knobs on it, and it tilts the camera this way and then forward and back. Um, and it's so easy. Unlike a ball head that you have to loosen the whole thing and you adjust the camera, a gearhead you can adjust the axes separately. So you can position your camera and just turn the dot knob a little bit to adjust the horizon so that that's straight. And then you can turn the other knob to pan up and down so that you can get the composition the way you want it. So definitely reach out to Errol. Uh, I think it's if he's gonna give it away for free because I paid 180 for mine. Um, Definitely get this tripod because, or I'm sorry, gearhead. You won't regret it if you do landscapes, and if you want to do like panoramas and stuff, you want to get a tripod that has a leveling base, and then it makes easy work of just rotating it because there's actually three knobs. I'm sorry, there's three knobs. There's another knob that rotates it, so you can control three axes separately, independent of each other, unlike a normal ball head, right? And it's definitely a nice addition to your tool set, so to speak, uh, for doing um, for doing your photography, particularly if you're into landscapes and things or architectural like I am. It's really the best thing, one of the best things I've ever bought for my photography is that. Um, oh, Rick is here. Hey, Rick. Oh yeah, you remind me. I gotta make some chili today. I gotta finish off my sausage and ground beef. Yeah, I'm with you on that. Man, the cameras are so expensive now. I mean, Micro Four Thirds is has gone up a little too, but not like double, you know? I mean, Nikon has that Z5 that you can find for, 1,200 bucks, give or take, if it's on sale, and you can find used ones for less than that. And that seems to be a good deal. I don't know anything about the camera itself. I assume it's a fine camera. But yeah, you want a Z6 or a Z7, you're talking 2, 3,000, maybe more. And then they got the Z9 now, which is like over 5,000. It's like, come on. I mean, what are they doing to me? You know? Um, and then yeah, I don't get it. I'm very content with just I mean, I could go out with my like I did recently, I could go out with my TG5 and still really enjoy my time on the photo walk taking pictures and not get frustrated or worried all about the image quality. Because if you know how to use your gear, you can get the image quality you need out of just about any camera. Photography is about the composition and understanding the limits of your gear and how to take advantage or having the skill set to get the better quality image, right? So, just use base ISO, use a tripod, um, know the aperture, the sweet spot on the aperture for the type of shot you're going to be taking. If you're doing portraits, wide open usually works, right? So that's the sweet spot in terms of getting a beautiful image. And by sweet spot, I'm not necessarily talking about sharpness, right? I'm talking about what is the sweet spot aperture for getting the kind of composition and image that you want. Um, like on my Panasonic S5, the sweet spot is actually f8 um, at 20 millimeters because I want to capture a wide angle and have everything in focus when I'm doing my architectural videos. Um, so, when I'm out with my 12 to 40 Pro, I'm always at f2.8 because it's sharp wide open. It gets a little sharper at f4, but the only reason I would change the aperture from f2.8 is if I need to slow the shutter speed down or I need to get more depth of field for some reason. But usually I don't need more depth of field because I fill the frame with the subject, right? I try to anyway. And, and then low light situations. Um, but yeah, when I put a lens on, there's certain apertures that I always set it to. Like when I put my 14 to 150 on, I set it to f5.6 because then I have a constant aperture basically from wide open to all the way zoomed in. And the image quality is really it's sharpest really at about that aperture anyway. And for so just about all the kit lenses, I'm at f5.6 because the kit lenses are all zooms, and that just gives me a constant aperture. So because I do a lot of I'm very conscious of the exposure when I take a picture, and knowing that I have a fixed aperture, then I only have to think about the shutter speed, right? Because then ISO is on auto. So I have auto ISO, a fixed aperture. All I have to do is watch the shutter speed, and I always shoot an aperture priority, so I can fix the aperture. Then I just have to watch the shutter speed, right? If it's where I need it to be, and for static scenes, obviously I don't care about the shutter speed. You can be slow, fast, doesn't matter. For moving objects, depends what kind of image that I want. Do I want to show motion blur? Do I or not? Right? Is it a sports action scene where I need to freeze the image, freeze the subject in this? Then I need to look at faster shot. All of that stuff, right? That you think about. But that's kind of my methodology of taking a photo is locking the aperture and aperture priority using auto ISO, and then I just have to watch the shutter speed. But finding that sweet spot for the kind of photography you're going to be doing, regardless of the sweet spot of the lens itself in terms of sharpness, is to me is my methodology for shooting. Uh, let's see. Let me catch up on some of the chat here. Am I selling my EM1 Mark II? No. I could. I don't really need it. I could use my EM5 Mark II for streaming, but no, I don't plan on selling it right now. If I do, I'll let you guys know if you want it. I mean, it works great, but I have dropped it once or twice. So it's got some scratches on the corner. Yeah, and Andrew, I guess he has a thread on DxO Deep Prime. Like I said, I use Photolab 5 Elite, which has the Deep Prime algorithm plus some other stuff. Yeah, it's amazing for single images. It's great. If you have to work with massive amounts of images, for a job or something, it's the workflow's not quite where it needs to be. But if you're just doing photo walks and editing your images one at a time, it's nothing beats it. My workflow now is I export everything from DxO with all of the optical corrections, and Deep Prime, regardless of ISO, and then I manipulate those in Lightroom and Photoshop. And the final output is so much better. And I thought I saw something about dynamic range. Steve Page likes to do, yeah, you got to have a AF. Because event photography, you can't miss the moment. You want to capture the moment. It's hard enough to capture the moment even if everything's ready and focused, right? Um, so yeah, I'm with you on that. Oh, hi Kevin, how are you? Good to see you. Graphic cards have gone up in price. Yeah, I'm a laptop guy, so I should get a desktop my next computer though. Maybe next year. Not like next month, but next year. Next year, not. Oh, you're thinking. Oh, the 40 to 150 f4. I don't know. Depends on the price. Um, 40 to 150 f4. That might be better than getting a 40 to 150 f2.8. Especially if it'll take a 2x teleconverter, right? If they make the 40 to 150 f4 compatible with the teleconverters, that could be an interesting combination. Ugh, I gotta turn off my phone. Every time it beeps, it's because I got all these security cameras around my house. Uh, since the guy's raking the leaves, he's tripping the security cameras. Oh, here's Errol's email uh, about the Benro gearhead. And when we were talking about wide angle lenses, yeah, the 8-18 is nice. I think it's an f2.8 to f4, so it's pretty fast wide open. But I don't need that for the kind of work I do. Just a fixed f4, or even the 9-18 that Olympus has. The aperture's fine. It starts at f4 and goes to 5.6 or something. But if I can go fixed f4 on a zoom, all the better. Okay, and I have Ellie. Whoops. This was a comment from Lauren. Lauren is hilarious. I did get your last two emails about. God, I read them. Now I can't remember, but they were about cameras. I think one was about the 100 to 400, 100 to 300 lens from Panasonic, and the other one was about multiple cameras. I would say, yeah, I have the 75 to 300 from Olympus, so I'm pretty content with that for now. If I get more into birding and stuff, maybe I'll go for the 300 f4, and that's why I'm looking at it. And I think camera-wise, I'm kind of set. I got the M1 Mark III. I got a DF. I got a lot of cameras. I think I'm okay. God, Ellie, I'm gonna put her in my room. Give me 1 second. Ellie, come here. Hey, come here. Come on. Come here. Come here. All right. All right, she's here with me now. Hopefully she doesn't hear the guy outside. Oh, the gearhead's gone. Wow, that was fast. So some lucky soul got that. Man, that is a great, very generous of you, Errol. Thank you for doing that in the stream here and sharing that with the viewers. I know you're going to make someone very happy. No, Ben is here. I didn't get a chance to do the comet thing. It's probably out of range now, right? Let me tell you guys something. Home ownership, right? Now, these are first world problems. So let's put this in context. These are things that, really are not a big deal, but they're very aggravating to first world problems, in terms of first world problems. So I got my furnace fixed. It's running like a top now. It's so nice. My house is right now 64 degrees. I mean, that's like toasty compared to what I've been dealing with for a month. And that's as high as I want to set it. Otherwise, $4 or $5 a gallon, I can't really. Well, anyway, my sinks got clogged up in my bathroom and in the kitchen, right? And they're probably, I don't know. So I tried to fix the problem in the kitchen sink, and I couldn't. I couldn't plunge it. I couldn't liquid plumber it. Same thing with the bathroom sink, liquid plumber, plunger, nothing, right? All I did was destroy my, I busted my garbage disposal trying to plumb things. Now it's leaking, so I still got to do that. But I have one of those snakes, right? And I won't go into too much detail, but I had to take the plumbing apart in the kitchen, in the bathroom, and then I had to go into the basement, and all of the plumbing is up in the ceiling. And I had to take this plumbing apart in between the bathroom and the kitchen, I had to take all the plumbing apart there in about three different places and use that snake thing in there. And you see these movies. It always happens. Usually in a comedy type, satirical type movie, right, or TV show. People getting just sprayed with sewage from a pipe, right? And it's hilarious. It's not. Let me tell you something. I was snaking this thing up in the ceiling of my basement, and man, when whatever was blocking broke loose, yeah, that was like a classic movie moment where you have sewage just spraying all over you. So I spent half the day yesterday cleaning the kitchen because it was a disaster area. And, well, I spent half the day yesterday taking a shower and cleaning the kitchen. And then today, this morning before the stream, that's why I was a little late. I was cleaning the bathroom because the bathtub and the sink and the floor, my God, is just disgusting. So now the only thing left to clean is the basement, right? Because that's where the bulk of the sewage, it's sprayed out so fast with so much pressure. It just got all over the basement, you know? Luckily, it was only probably about maybe 7 or 8 gallons total, right? But it was flowing for a while. I filled up about halfway of a 8 gallon bucket. I filled up about half of that, then the other half kind of got on the floor because I put the bucket here and it was just dribbling into the bucket, and then when it broke loose, man, it went spraying out, like this, past the bucket. So I'm sitting there trying to hold the bucket up, trying to get it, and it's hitting me. And actually, it is kind of funny. This is why it's always in the movies, right? Oh my God. But anyway, next up is cleaning the basement. So that's going to be the half day today, if not longer. But I didn't have to call a plumber because I just spent a fortune fixing the furnace, and calling a plumber, they charge my friend $500 to unclog her toilet, right? And I had basically two sinks and a bathtub to unclog. and he would have had to snake and go in the base. Yeah, that'd have been $1,000 job easy to unclog it. So I did it myself because I just, I ain't spending another $1,000 fixing something in my house. The guy raking my leaves I got cheap, but the plumbing, yeah, that I should have done a video, Plato. No, you know, I didn't want to get my cameras dirty, you know, because I looked up, I was like, why is this so black, right? Why is it basically black sludge in your piping is all bacteria? So disgusting. On the one hand, when it's pure black sludge, I just pretend it's tar and it just makes it a little more tolerable. Uh, and then your nose gets a little bit numb to the smell after a while, so I'm okay there. But man, when it just blew out on me, oh, let me just check the chat real quick. Rob is saying the 40 to 150 f4 won't have the teleconverter capability. And David says about the comet, it's brightest from the 8th through the 12th. So what's today? The 7th. Oh, so we're good. I still got some time. It's going to be freaking cold the next few days, but maybe this weekend. And yeah, the plumbing is a nightmare. It was, what's this? Whoops. Yeah, what's a little sewage on your face and save $1,000? At least 1,000. I'm sure he would have charged me more. If I were a plumber, I would have definitely charged more because it was bad. What, Ellie? Um, Snaking has always made me nervous. I know, me too, because this was a power snake. It was attached to a drill, and I was just going back and forth. I do have a small leak though in some of the PVC now. You want to go out? You want to go get that guy? Is that what it is? You want to go get him? Let's go. Oh, I shouldn't have done that. I got all riled up. Ellie, all right. You're going to go in the bedroom. Get down. Uh, Stop. Man, you're so persistent. Get down. Sit down. Stay. What I need is to put like some treats on my desk and she'll be really calm until I start giving them to her. Yeah. You worked for a plumber. Wow. Yeah, the snake I had, I think, was only 8 feet. And like I said, it was between the bathroom and the sink, which was there's more than 8 feet of room distance there, especially with the piping going behind the cinder blocks and stuff. So I couldn't get to all the piping, but I could get to it. Uh, so there's still probably about 4 feet of pipe that I couldn't get to with the snake. Like I got to it from one end and I got in from the other end, but I know there's still blockage somewhere in there. So I poured liquid plumber down again and tried to flush hot water through, and everything seems to be running fine. But I got a little bit of a drip now in one of my PVCs, so I'll have to go and seal that up. Uh, but other than that, I'm okay. Anyway, enough about plumbing. That was uh, a snake on a drill. Wouldn't that make the snake dizzy? 40 or 50 euros, man, that's nothing. You're talking less than $100 an hour? No. Heck no, man. It's 150 and up per hour, sometimes $200 an hour US. So let's say 150 euros an hour for a plumber just to come out. Because I had I had a plumber change just the because I had the water the main broke. My water main, the valve, the shutoff valve on my main line to my house broke a few months ago. And that was like, I got quoted anywhere between $400 and $1,000. So I called the $400 guy back, and he came out and he did it for $400. Well, 450 because the part was like $50. And yeah, labor is really expensive here. The heating guy is $140 an hour to work on that, and I've got, yeah, many hours logged. Some of it I didn't have to pay for, but the hours I did pay for, yeah, $140 an hour, which is what, maybe a little over 100 euros for the heating guy. Plumbing guy, yeah, plumbing guys are more expensive because they charge sometimes per job, not always per hour. Um, so that's why I got a quote like $1,000. They didn't charge per hour; they just charged for the job. And the other guy, he was charging for the job as well. Anyway, uh, I am in Maryland. I'm in Maryland, USA. Those are rates. No, lawyers and doctors, forget it, man. Those guys are $300 an hour and up. $300 an hour for like an average lawyer, right? Not, like somebody that's established but not known, not famous, not 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 well known. About $300 an hour, man. I went to an attorney once. We had three attorneys in the room. Two of them said maybe one or two words like hello, nice to meet you. That was it. And then the other guy, the primary attorney, and this was a while ago, before I was into photography and all that. But the other guy, the primary lawyer, the guy I hired, did most of the talking, and he didn't say much. But we were in there for about an hour. All three of them charged me $900 for that 1 hour, $300 an hour. I was like, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Three lawyers in a room, each one charging $300 an hour. Oh, it's ridiculous. Doctors, I have no idea what they charge because it's we have insurance and stuff here, but my friend who does not have insurance pays $140 per visit, and it might be like a 5 or 10 minute visit just to renew prescriptions and things. And let's see, here's a legit question, right? It says here, I'm after a K&F ND filter and seem to remember you recommending one that is described as nano-coated. They sell them as 2 to 32 and darker 8 to 28, both 5 stops. Any thoughts? Get the darker one. I'm not familiar with 2 to 32. I guess they're 8 to 28. But get the darkest one you can. Because usually, I think when I bought mine, they were saying like it was an ND5 to ND10 or something, but it was like a 5-stop filter. Get the darkest one because you'll be surprised. It takes a lot to kill light outdoors when you're in the daytime. So the stronger ND filter you can get, the better. I mean, that would be my advice. Don't get the ones that aren't that dark. It's not going to help you much I mean, if you want shutter speeds more than 1 second long, you want to get the darkest ND filters you can. $140 an hour. That's a tough call. It's very competitive here. In my work, I don't charge per hour. I charge for the specific job that I'm doing. So I can take as little or as much time as I want on each job. I usually end up spending more time than I should. The effective rate, I try to get it to be $75 to $100 an hour overall when I include time on site and time editing. I don't count driving time because that's so random. I know a lot of people like to count their driving time, commuting time to a job when they calculate how much they really earn per hour. For me, that would make me earning like minimum wage in this area because traffic is just, unbelievable. I do charge extra for distance. If it's more than 50 miles away, I go 50 cents a mile. But, that's rare. I've only had to do that a couple of times. Most of the time, jobs are within 50 miles. And if it's a little bit over, I don't worry about it. But I charge per job. And in my head, I try to make it work out 75, 100 per hour. So if I spend an hour on site, sometimes an hour and a half, I spend maybe 2 hours editing, a couple $100, right? So I got 3 hours total. And well, 225. And if there's video work and stuff involved, it goes up to about $400. But then, I have to tack on time for editing video, which adds a couple hours, things like that. No, electricians, yeah, $250 an hour. No kidding. See, Robin knows, right? $100 or $300 for 20 minutes. And that doesn't count the time that you were waiting in the waiting room, right? Before you got to see the doctor. I was trying to circle back to photography. Something came to mind while I was talking about the other stuff. I was like, oh, this is related to photography in a way. Now I can't remember what it was. Oh, here's someone reinforcing what I was talking about. Yeah, that makes sense. 12 to 32 would be for video. Because for video, typically you're just trying to get the shutter angle, right? And if you know about video, you know what I'm talking about. And then, but yeah, get the darker one. That's all I can tell you. My mind is just not working numbers too well today. I used to be able to just say, okay, ND4 is this many stops, or I would say ND1000. That they there's a couple of different ways to refer to ND filters that it all makes sense when you know what the numbers are doing, but just I can't remember now. And Robin's making a point about polarizers. They have to be circular polarizers. And most of them are nowadays. But if you see a linear polarizer, it's not a circular. You don't want that. Those were for film cameras, and film was not affected by the polarization effect of limiting light. But if you get a circular polarizer, and I'm not talking about the shape, they're all circular, right? They're all round, but they're specifically how the polarizer is reducing the light reflections and stuff. You have to get a circular polarizer for digital cameras, and I think they're called linear polarizers for the old film cameras, which they still sell, not in any quantity like they used to, obviously, but yeah, thank you for bringing that up. Oh, your son is an electrician. Oh, you know, and then looks like Jacob has a question. The handheld high res function, the Olympus EM1 works awesome. It is awesome. Okay, uh, I use it time to time, you know, and you have to practice a little bit so you don't mess it up. You still have to hold it still pretty steady. That way you'll get less artifacts. Um, But if you're just hand holding and being steady like you would if you didn't have image stabilization, so when you use handheld high res shot mode, you want to use sort of all the methodologies that you would if you didn't have an image stabilizer on, because high res shot mode basically disables the image stabilization and enables the high res shot mode. Now, it does actually, from what I understand, it does actually try to stabilize the camera while it's doing the high res pixel shifting. So you don't have to be perfectly steady like tripod. But uh, two things that I've noticed with high res handheld high res shot mode is one is it reduces noise, and this would be true for the tripod mode, right? Because there's tripod mode and there's handheld mode. It reduces noise quite a bit. I would say easily 2 stops difference in noise, and the images are sharper. And for handheld high res shot mode, I've gotten amazing results. The only other caveat would be is sometimes the lens is a little bit limiting, and it's not ideal for uh, really long distance type shots. Like if you're doing a landscape and the mountain is a couple of miles away, high res shot mode is kind of wasted on a scene like that because of atmospheric type distortions and interference. But for product photography and things that are within 10 or 20 meters, or maybe even I would go 50 meters, 100 feet or so, 150 feet, high res shot is amazing. It really brings out the details in any lens. Uh, so yeah, it works. It works great. Rick's wondering why I'm talking about photography. I don't know. Sometimes my mind drifts, and I start thinking about photography. It's just a hobby. Oh, I've never tried it like for a group photo, but that could be problematic depending on the shutter speed. If your shutter speed is decent, like 1/200th of a second or better, there's other limitations. Like you can't go higher than f8 when you're in high res shot mode, I believe. So that could be problematic for group shots, even though f8 should be enough for depth of field and group shot. Depth of field is affected by other factors, right? Your focal length and distance to subject. But uh, I can tell you that I know for single portraits, if the person sits really still and you have a pretty fast shutter speed, you're fine. Joe Edelman, I've seen great shots from Joe Edelman using handheld high res shot mode for portraits. He's had no issues with it. For group shots, where you have multiple people moving potentially, uh, yeah, I don't have experience with that. But I wouldn't worry I wouldn't use high res shot mode for group shots. I would just avoid it. It could introduce a problem, like an artifact in a place you wouldn't want it, like somebody's eye or nose will be a little bit blurry because there's an artifact there. You don't want that. So, and you can't predict it. So don't use high res shot mode for like portraits. I'm sorry, for group shots. I would say for portraits, you can get away with it if the model is very still. Yeah, yeah, I know exactly what you're going through, Rob. Um, I mean, I appreciate that FedEx updates fairly often and gives you good detail about what's going on. But when maybe it's because of the time of year, the predictability is a little bit random. They're not able to predict as well. Is there a digital camera that uses leaf shutter that is lens like the old speed graphic? Yes. The Fujifilm, I don't know about the newest ones like the X100V and stuff, but the Fuji X100s, I believe, use a leaf shutter, and you can sync up to 1/500th of a second. So look at the Fuji X100s for the leaf shutter. That's the only one I know of off the top of my head. There may be others, but that's the only one I can think of that I know for sure uses a leaf shutter. Is the Fujifilm X100 series. Um, but I don't know about the newer ones, the latest generations. The earlier ones all had it. Like the Fujifilm X70 was a camera that I wanted. I still want to get it actually, but anyway, and I believe the Fuji X100s had a leaf shutter as well. But someone correct me if I'm wrong. But I believe that's the case. Um, how are digital flashes different than film flashes? From what I understand, it's the voltage used to trigger the flash from the hot shoe. So uh, the theory being that the the flash the flash is going to draw too much energy. I think it takes more energy to fire a film era flash than it does the new digital flashes. So you could potentially damage the electronics in your camera body when you're using a film era flash. Now that said, before I knew about that, I used film era flashes on my Olympuses all the time, and I never had a problem. But uh, best practice is never use film flashes on a digital camera. Always use digital flashes with a digital camera. And if you can, I'm sure there's exceptions. There's some film flashes that may be compatible without that voltage problem. David Tellett probably knows better than I do how to explain this if he's still here. But the best practice rule of thumb is don't use film flashes with digital cameras because of the voltage could the difference in voltage required to fire the flash could damage the electronics in your camera. Outside of that, um, other than pinouts and stuff like that, I think the flash itself is still using, I think, a xenon gas or xenon gas. Anyway, it's still a gas tube inside that fires. Um, that has not changed. I think just the electronics and the capacity and the speed of recharging and the power source like lithium batteries, you know, there's a lot of advantages to modern flashes and the power technology in terms of firing the flash between the internal electronics like the capacitors and things and the power source like lithium batteries. All these things really have improved the recharge rate and uh, uh, what's the word I'm looking for? Anyway, they last a long time. I can shoot all day on a single lithium battery usually on a photo shoot. Oops, wrong button here. Mal Robbins got a lot of questions today. Do we really need to use colored filters on our lenses like we did in the film days now with the ability to save the file as a digital black and white? I would say probably not. Um, by adding a colored filter to your camera on a digital camera, all you're doing is reducing the light and, of course, reducing the color throughput of all the other colors. And I know Matty Salanto did a comparison of using a red filter with black and white photography, and it's a digital camera, but he used a red filter on a digital camera, and then he just used a built-in digital red filter, and the differences were very minor. My results have been dramatically different than what Matty got. When I put a red filter on my digital camera, I can't get anywhere near the look that I got when I just used the camera's digital red filter. Um, so I think again in practice you don't need a color filter in front of your lens anymore. But there may be some special use cases for using a colored filter, which I'm not familiar with that kind of photography. You know, there are filters that have colors that are invisible to the human eye, like light pollution filters, and those filters, definitely have an impact on the final image. And typically, it's better if you have a lot of light pollution. But if you're thinking about the standard, like red, yellow, green type filters, the camera sensor has a red, green, and blue color filters on top of the sensor. The RGB, what do they call it? Bayer array. already, and you can digitally manipulate that Bayer array by applying digital red filter, digital green filter, etc. So I don't see a need for color filters. And for yeah, the results that I got, when I put a red filter on my camera, man, I got all these muddy colors. It was just it was a train wreck. Maddie somehow he has a video on it. Maddie Salanto, on Salanto blog has a video, and he got fine results, but I did not. And Rick says a useful trick using digital filters in Olympus black and white mode to help you see your subject better in the EVF, even if you're shooting in RAW and you actually use the colored RAW image. Yes. So what Rick I think is saying is that when you're in monochrome mode on your Olympus camera, uh, it helps to see it in monochrome through the EVF, so that you can compose and adjust the color filter to get the effect that you want in real time while you're in the field. And I do that a lot, especially with the Pen F. It'd be very difficult to imagine how the digital color filters affect the image without doing it in the field while you're there. Like I can't look at an image and say if I apply a red filter, it's going to look like this. My mind just cannot calculate that variable. I can't visualize that. So I don't take a picture in the field, planning on using a digital filter in post processing when I do editing, because I just don't know how that would look. I do it in post processing just to see, but when I'm in the field taking the picture, I can't imagine. I don't have any way to imagine how a color filter would look. So having color filters in the field and being able to apply those digitally helps you to see what it's going to look like before you take the picture, or after, for that matter, so that you can get the image that you want in the field while you're there. Because to me, there's no substitute for doing everything right in the field. Right, when you're there, seeing it with your own naked eye or through the EVF, assuming you're doing some sort of art filter, monochrome type stuff, there's no substitute for that than just shooting raw and then saying, I'll do something in post to make this look better. You want to make it look exactly how you want it, the best you can while you're in the field. And then all you have to do are some minor tweaks, right, in post processing, because you've achieved that look while you're in the field. Because you're not going back there a second time. At least I rarely do, and say I'm going to take this picture again, but this time I'm going to do this. I'd rather be in the field and say take 2 or 3 pictures and get it to the way I want while I'm there, and then anyway, you get the idea. Yeah, there's no my Panasonics have like an infrared mode. I'm pretty sure my S5 does, but it's not the same as a true infrared look. And I'm just checking the chat here. Oh, David Teller was still here. Yes, some of the old ones could put 400 volts through the hot shoe circuit. This changed, I think, in the 80s, but you need to check the specs to make sure. In general, don't use them for modern cams. Okay, thank you. 400 volts, wow. So this is referring back to using film era flashes on digital cameras. So thank you, David. I knew you would have a more definitive answer, uh, or a more specific answer, I should say. And Kevin says the 4150 is a great lens for the call. Yeah, for the money. I mean, you used to be able to get it for 99 bucks all day long. It's kind of gone up to 150 all day long, but yeah, it's a great lens. And has anyone had any other? I have not had one converted professionally, but a viewer, his name escapes me now, sent me an E410, I believe, converted to infrared. And sadly, I've not taken it out for a real photo walk. I've had it for, I don't know, 7 or 8 months now. Oh, I'm really sorry. I haven't been able to take that out yet. Uh, but the few test shots that I did with it were interesting. It was interesting. What's really neat is when you use like an infrared filter, like a 720 or so, I forget the designations, but they have the 720 nanometers or whatever. They have these infrared filters you can buy with different wavelengths to get different effects, or that affect different wavelengths of the infrared spectrum. So you get different looks. Uh, but it kills, it's like putting a 10 stop ND filter on your camera. It kills all of the light coming into the camera. And you have to use long exposures, you have to use a tripod, and the results ultimately are a little bit washed out. You're still getting, hey, what are you eating? What is that? Uh huh. God, I gotta be careful. I thought I vacuum the floor pretty regular, but hey, stop! What is that? I don't know what she just chewed up, but it's blue. So she was chewing on a watch pin. Okay, this is what holds your watch bands on. Chewing on a canister of film. I should just give this back to her. It's gone. And then I don't know what this is. This purple. It might be a. I don't know where this. Anyway, what was I talking about? Infrared. But yeah, with a infrared converted camera, you don't have to worry about that. You can shoot like at relatively normal exposure speeds, shutter speeds and stuff, and the results are far superior. I think Randy has a converted camera. Right along, Randy. If he's still here, you can ask him. Um, oh, Rick has some more feedback here. Yes and no. I'm referring to the difficulty to see the subjects like an aircraft where telling the camera it's shooting in black and white allows you to dial in digital filters to improve. Oh, there's more. If I can find it. I don't see the second part of your thing here, Rick. I mean, I can only think of like an aircraft in the sky. If you use a red filter, that should darken the sky, but then if it's I think like a good example would be a black and white photo of the red Baron plane, which is a red plane on a blue sky. If you use a red filter, it's going to brighten up the red plane against the blue sky, and that may or may not be an effect that you want. Uh, but a lot of times, you know, planes are colored blue, and if you use a red filter, it's going to make the plane very dark along with the sky, and it's going to be hard to see the plane against the sky background. That kind of thing, right? Because and then a lot of times the markings on the planes have different colors. That using a color filter on a black and white image would um, change how those markings look on the plane if you're doing a black and white photo. I'm just going to try to extrapolate. Oh, here it is. Here's the extension. And those filters giving better EVF contrast, for example, but your intention is to capture the color image by using plus raw. The black and white digital filter helps you see. Oh, yeah, that's totally different than what I was talking about. Rick's talking about using black and white to help you see things better in difficult conditions and with the intent to process a color image. It's not something I do, but I could see somebody that's it's just another skill set, right? Being able to see monochrome and take advantage of that so you can get a better color image. I think that's what Rick's trying to say. I have heard of that. It's not a skill set that I'm good at. All right, Ellie. But it's definitely a skill set. I've heard some photographers do use monochrome in the EVF to help them see the images better, get better exposure, uh, so that they can process a better color image, if that makes any sense, right? Oh, yeah, I knew it. Randy has a full spectrum camera, which is different than the infrared camera, right? Full spectrum lets all of the light in, versus infrared just focuses on letting the infrared spectrum in. And yeah, Randy, you're supposed to make some videos, or you were thinking about it, of your paranormal adventures. Ooh, yeah. What's really nice where Randy lives out in California is a lot of wide open spaces. So if a storm is coming, you can see it from miles away, right? And then capture it as it comes in. It's not something I get an opportunity to do here. And somebody was talking about a Leica mono, because there are dedicated monochrome cameras where they remove the RGB filter, in which case, the Bayer array, in which case you would have to use color filters on the front of your black and white if you wanted to filter out certain colors. Oh, lightning. Yeah, I know. You mean lightning. Um, I heard LiveCom's really good for that. Uh, using live composite to capture lightning, I heard it's really good for that. You probably need an ND filter, but that would work. Okay. Um, okay, this Friday, okay, little announcement. This Friday, I'm going to be doing a Fan Friday photo live stream where you guys submit one, maybe two of your best images that tell a story of some kind. And the story can be, like people, events, that kind of thing. But it could also be a really nice picture where the story is in how you took that picture, right? Because that's a lot of times just as interesting about how you got the picture than the picture itself, or as much as if the picture itself. So So there's no theme like landscape or architecture or macro. It's not a theme type photo review. It's more of a, story, just show me your best images, your favorite images, what you liked about it. Maybe there's a story behind it, right? Or uh, a story about how you took the picture that would make it really interesting. So there's a link in this live stream down below where you can submit your images. But also there's a live stream already set up for this Friday, 10 a.m., same time this stream starts, but on Friday, uh, with links there as well. So, and then there's a line there also in the form when you submit your image to write some text about it. So you can write a little few sentences about that image that I can share with the viewers this coming Friday. Also, I'm going to be putting a link during the stream on Friday. If you actually want to come in live and join me as a guest, like I've done here in the past, that you can talk about the photo, because sometimes just a couple of sentences ain't going to cut it, right? You want to elaborate on the story and make it much more interesting. That could be fun too. So keep that in mind. I look forward to see, because you guys always send me interesting pictures for editing, but you have some amazing images that I've seen on the Flickr group and in my forum, and I thought it'd be kind of fun to do it in a stream where we see the photos. So look for that this Friday. Submit your images. Hopefully I get enough. I only need a few, one or two from each of you, and we'll try and get through them and just have some fun that day, right? Okay. I think it was actually Lauren's idea from last week that he suggested we try, do something like that. So I said, oh, that sounds like a great idea. What? Stop it. I know. Oh, Plato did a lightning with a 30-minute live comp. That's good. Yeah, live comp you can leave on forever, right? I suppose there's some limit. Apparently it's not 30 minutes. Or maybe it is 30 minutes, but yeah, Randy's used live comp before, so nothing new there from me to him. Now, a lot of you guys know DeMorcan. I don't see him here today, but he's usually in the photo editing live streams. Maybe he's here, but DeMorcan has a YouTube channel. So just search his name, DeMorcan, DeMorkcan, and I'll just pull it up because he posted a video. I didn't look at anything else on his channel. I just watched the one that he posted in the forum. Let me see if I can find it real quick. Oh. Where is it? Because we all know Right Along Randy has a channel. Robert D. Donato. I love Robert's channel too. DeMorcan. Yeah, this is it. So yeah, DeMorcan has a channel. Let me click here. What's he got going on in here? I haven't even looked at anything. Wow, 13 years ago, 12 years ago. My goodness, these are old. $15 years ago. My goodness. Okay, maybe he's not looking for new subscribers because he's not posting. He just posted this one. But I thought I'd share it with you because he did a video on photo editing. He edited one of my pictures and he was just sharing how he edits some of it partially, but you can watch that. Uh, and then right along with Randy, here's Randy's channel. He's definitely, yeah, I've kind of hit these three. I haven't watched this one yet. But I've watched all of these, as you can see, the red bar. But Randy's got a good channel too. He's been doing droning it. Yeah, this is the replacement drone, I believe. You finally got it working. And then there's Roberto Di Donato. I think that's I'm subscribed. It should be my subscription here. Can't be way down here. God, I gotta unsubscribe to some of these. I never watch them. You should be right at the top, Roberto, because I just watched. Oh yeah, you are. You're right here. Roberto, on Roberto's channel, which one was it? Yeah, these two. The Olympus Trip 35 was great. That kind of inspired me from last week's stream. And this was a fun video too with the fisheye lens. Oh, the Holga video. Yeah, these were all pretty good. But Roberto has a fun channel too. Let's see. That's my chat window. There we go. Let's see. Yeah, System Mature watches Randy. It is great. I mean, he just drives around and films things, or yeah, it was fun. His critters video is pretty good too. It's just I think it was just a slideshow of pictures he took of animals, but it was interesting to see the different animals you run across. Yeah, Roberto's a trip. When he does the tippy tail, right? with Jerry. Of course, Jerry's the star, right? And I'm just checking. I won't buy. Where is it? Let me look at this. I won't buy any Leica mono cameras. They stopped putting the red dot on them so you don't get notice of. That's funny. Alito Rufus. Let's check him out. Alito Rufus. I don't know who he is. Never heard of him. Attilo Rufo. See if he comes up. Last week I posted. I assume this is the guy. Let's see his videos. If he has 5 months, 6 months. Yeah, it has been a while. It has been a while since he's published. Interesting. See if his community tab has anything. 6 months ago. His about page. Let's try his Instagram. I mean, sometimes people get busy with their day job, right? Let's see. This was taken 22 weeks. Wow. So July 1st. And I can't read anything. All right. Yeah, it's been a while. I don't know what's going on. I never heard of him before today. You got kicked out of the Google Local Guide program because of the drone? I wonder. And Tim Boyer went dormant too, huh? Oh, wait, somebody has a comment here. Uh, Says he moved back to Italy from California, posted a few videos, and then disappeared. Hmm. I mean, 6 months ago, no, we were kind of past the bulk of the COVID restrictions. I mean, there's still some around the world, I assume, but I don't know. And Tim Boyer, who is that? Let me see. I mean, the name rings a bell. Tim Boyer. Oh, I've seen his videos before. This guy. Um, Bird photography. Let's see what his latest 11 months. Man, yeah, it has been a while. And does he has a website. Everything's still good here. Seems like. So, oh, he's in Washington. He looks familiar. But I don't do a lot of bird photography, so I probably didn't watch his stuff anyway. Um, but yeah, it's been 11 months since he's posted. That is weird. It's kind of like he always, because of David Thorpe, right, passing. We were lucky to get a final video from him saying that, his channel's, he was suffering from an illness and this will be the last video. If I ever have a last video, I'll have a last video. I'll say this is my last video. Hopefully not anytime soon, but um, it just seems if you're able to make a last video for your viewers would be nice, just a courtesy. But sometimes you can't, right? So if you ever see like a huge gap, like 3, 4 months without a video or stream from me, that means I'm dead. Like I died before I can make a last video. But if I need to end the channel and I have the time, I'll always have a goodbye. Thanks for your support and all that, right? But that's a long way off, God willing. I didn't see an Instagram for Tim Boyer, and the one for Attilo, he has not been posting to Instagram either. And Tim Boyer, I don't know, he doesn't have. I don't see an Instagram for him. A lot of these guys don't have Instagram pages, you know. Let me take a quick look. Tim Boyer. Oh, yeah, he has one. Let's see what his last post is. This one. 17 weeks. Well, that's more recent than his last video. 17 weeks is what? Divided by 4 months. It's been 11 months since a video. This is about 4 months ago. July 14th. So, yeah. Wow, he's got some great bird shots. Uh, okay, so yeah, so I have the thing on Friday. If you guys submit to that, I think that'll be a lot of fun, especially if you can join me live. And today, I need to wrap up the stream because I gotta clean my basement. Um, I don't know if I'm up to it though. Maybe I'll let it dry out for a few more days. If I dry it out, then I can just kind of scrub it with a brush and vacuum it. Versus right now, everything's still wet, you know, and nasty. John Allen says, my videos, how come it didn't pop up? Let's see. John Allen has a channel. Let me pull his up real quick. John Allen. I don't see a channel. Let me show you guys what I'm looking at. Maybe John can chime in. This is a photographer here in Winchester, Mr. B. Allen. So let's try that. Mr. B. Allen. Let's see. That doesn't look like a UK thing because it's got an American flag. Maybe this one. No, this looks like some kind of math instruction. Oh, chemistry. Yeah, chemistry. Beats me, John. It's not under your name though. It should be. Let me see your. I can just barely make out your logo. John, let me search John Allen one more time. I'll try and, or you can. Oh, I don't. You're not coming up. I don't know why. Can I click on your name here? Let me see if I can click on your name in the chat window. Let me try that. Nope. I can see your icon here. This is your little thumbnail. So let's try John Allen, UK. None of those. John Allen, photographer. One video. No, that's not you. Because you have an icon. Add Manchester. Okay, let me try that. You did say that in the chat earlier that you do videos about Manchester. Ah, there we go. Jackpot. All right. So let's click subscribe. Remembrance. Post them. Oh, cool. I'll definitely check these out. I'm going to share with you a channel because like it's always interesting for me to see other countries from your through your eyes, right? And your vlogs and stuff. But this is this guy, I don't know if you ever heard of him, the Daily Woo. This guy goes this guy just goes all over the country, in the US and just vlogs his adventures. He doesn't do any photography necessarily. He just vlogs, but you really get to see a lot of places in the US, like if you're interested in looking at old town and abandoned towns and things like that. Um, he has a lot of those kind of videos. I've caught a few, not recently. I tried to watch. This one was interesting. Abandoned spots in Texas. But he's got a lot of stuff I want to, when I got nothing else to watch, I'll watch this. And I'm not saying his channel's bad or anything. I'm just saying, uh, the few videos I've seen from him have been really interesting. So check his channel out too, the Daily Woo. Okay, it's mostly for expat. Okay, yeah, I'll check it out though. But okay, I need to go. You guys, I will catch up with you again on Friday. Like I said, I'm doing a Friday. I don't know. I tried to come up with some catchy thing. Friday fan photos, right? That sounds right. My question is, can I do it on Fridays all the time? Though is my other because I have another student I teach on Fridays normally, but it's because of the holidays. Um, but we'll try. We'll definitely do it this Friday. Same time this stream starts, 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, and try and have some fun that day, where you guys do most of the talking and I just listen if you come on as a guest, because I don't want to sit there and just talk about your pictures. I can't tell your story for you, right? So definitely submit some images and be prepared to join me live and talk about them. I think that'll be fun. Other than that, I don't think I'll have time to do a photo editing stream this week either. Uh, but next week I'll do one. Because I'm so rusty editing photos like hardcore, like I do for 2 hours. That I don't normally do, but I do need to get back into it for my own benefit as well. So you guys have a great week. And thanks. I wanted to thank everybody that's made a donation recently. I really appreciate it. I haven't been thanking you guys enough for that. But yeah, it helps me out a lot, especially with the holidays and everything. So thanks for those of you that sent a donation recently. It helps me out a lot. I really appreciate it. At least two of the Johns here I can mention specifically, but okay. I'm gonna go. I gotta work on my, with this basement being in sludge in the back of my mind, I can't think straight. So you guys have a great week. I'll see you on Friday.